You know, in cybersecurity, it's always the threats you don't see coming that are the most dangerous. So today, we're going to unmask one of malware's absolute best disguises. It's a technique called process hollowing, and it's where an attack happens from inside a program you already know and trust.
So that's the big question, right? How does malware literally wear another program's face? We're not just talking about some hidden file here. No, this is a complete identity takeover, with malicious code wearing a trusted program just like a mask. So how on earth does it pull off this digital masquerade?
Okay, so picture this. Think of it like a digital body snatcher. An attacker targets a perfectly normal, legitimate program on your system, scoops out its brain, the actual code, and then stuffs its own malicious code inside. To your system, it looks totally normal, but it's really just an empty shell being worn as a disguise.
Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's break down how this heist actually happens on a technical level, because this isn't just one simple trick. It's a really carefully choreographed sequence of steps, all designed to fool you, your system, and even your security software.
First, you gotta understand that process hollowing is a specific type of attack called code injection. The core idea behind it is pretty straightforward. Run your bad code inside of another good process. It's a classic tactic for flying under the radar and basically stealing all the trust and permissions of that legitimate program.
All right, this whole heist goes down in 4 main steps. First, the malware starts a trusted program, something common like svhost.exe, but it immediately freezes it. Then, step 2, it hollows it out. It uses a special system function to just carve out all the legitimate code. Third, it injects its own malicious code, we call that the payload, right into that empty space. And finally, it unfreezes the process. It just wakes up, looks completely normal, but now it's a puppet for the attacker.
So the attack is done. The malware is in, but why is this disguise so ridiculously effective? I mean, understanding the steps is one thing, but seeing why it's so hard to spot really reveals the true danger of this technique.
And this is the real problem right here. Take a look. On the left, you've got a normal process. On the right, a hollowed one. But notice anything? They have the exact same name. As far as your task manager is concerned, they're identical. The difference is completely invisible on the surface, even though one is critical for your system and the other is pure malware. And this really gets to the heart of why it works so well. A lot of security tools, well, they work on a pretty simple trust model. It's all based on names. They're programmed to think, oh, that's svhost.exe. That's a friend. Let it pass. They just approve the name, and they never even realize the code inside has been totally swapped out. The malware is literally exploiting that blind trust.
Okay, so if you can't trust what you see in Task Manager, how in the world do you catch the imposter? Well, the good news is security analysts have ways of seeing through the disguise. It just requires looking a whole lot deeper than a process name. Let's see how they unmask this thing.
Here is the fundamental rule for detecting this kind of attack. The process name is a lie. The only thing that tells the truth is the code that's actually running in memory right now. This disguise is good, for sure, but a digital autopsy of the system's memory, well, that will always reveal the imposter.
So analysts are basically digital detectives, and they're hunting for specific fingerprints of this heist. They look for any process that was created in that weird, suspended state. That's a huge red flag. They also compare the code running in memory to the original program file on the disk. If they don't match, you've found your imposter. And finally, they scan for memory that's marked as both writable and executable. That's a classic sign that some new, malicious code has been planted.
And to do this digital autopsy, they need some pretty powerful tools. One of the most essential ones out there is called volatility. It basically lets them take a snapshot of a system's live memory, a complete picture of absolutely everything running, and then they can analyze it offline, piece by piece, hunting for the attacker's tracks.
And boom! Here it is. This is the smoking gun. Using a tool inside Volatility called Malfind, an analyst scans the memory. It finds the process, svhost.exe. It flags a section of its memory that has those super suspicious write and execute permissions. And what's hiding inside? The letters MZ. That's the telltale signature of a brand new program. They found it. They found the malicious code hiding inside the shell. The disguise is completely broken.
So we end with this question. Process hollowing shows us that what you see on the surface isn't always the truth. It's a pretty powerful reminder that attackers are constantly coming up with new ways to just blend in with the normal noise of a system. And it really makes you wonder, what other secrets are hiding right there in plain sight?